And we are live. Hello, everyone.
Everybody. How are you
Covers,
this evening?
prospects, pledges, and everyone else
Good to
joining
see
us
ya.
tonight.
Hey,
Good to,
Shannon Dalton.
good to see you here on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
It's been a nice day here today.
it has been a nice day.
Hope
Yeah.
everyone else has had. I know some people has had some bad weather, but
We had rain last
yeah,
night.
we decided to go outside beside him
Uh-huh.
yesterday evening, and when we left here, it was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Of course, and
Yeah.
we parked and get the bike unloaded and start down the road. And about the time we hit the gravel and the trail, well, yeah, the rain starts, but we didn't let it
dampen our
didn't let it
spirits.
stop us. We kept right on riding and had a good time and did a little bit of filming. And
We did a little bit. We didn't do any. We dropped a magnet down the well.
that we wanted to do and film that. And we're gonna
Yeah, we'll
just
show
kind
that
of,
to you later.
yeah, we've got a video we're working
Hey,
on.
Tom.
It's just kind of a mishmash of clips that we've
Yeah.
done, and they never they don't have no home.
They don't have a home.
So
It's
we're
just a
making
hodgepodge.
hodgepodge of
Yeah.
clips. So we're putting a bunch of them together here before long. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Marvin
And
Huff.
we'll see what.
Yeah. It'll be
Share them
fun.
with everyone.
It'll be a few weeks before that's out, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Metal Detectorist, welcome.
See, we got Jeff with Adventures with Goat, Tom Kingery, Scott
Yes.
McClory, Cynthia Swearinger. Welcome, everyone.
Hey,
Tony,
yes.
Mr. Diggs, always glad
PA
for
Relic Hunters, welcome.
Dave, thanks for joining us tonight. We have, hey, Mr. Metal Detectorist, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Florida Sand Hunters, who was the winner of our giveaway last week. Welcome,
yes.
guys.
Yeah, they were the ones that guessed the inserts.
Right on the money.
On the
yes,
money.
they did.
Yes, they did.
And we are so glad they got their package.
I see Digging with Squeak has joined us.
Hello,
Thanks for
and
joining us,
Guido.
Guido.
We dig it, Gene and everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. Hope we haven't missed anyone. Hello to Deej.
Marty, Squirrels Magnet
Fishing.
Welcome, man. We are getting a full house in here.
Well,
tonight.
you know why? They know that there's a special guest.
And I'm sure they're all going.
And I'm sure they're wondering who that's going to be. And we will divulge that information here just within moments.
The Clarks always,
Park Rat Metal Detecting, welcome.
Always say who their guest is.
Dirt Troll and Troy, welcome.
But tonight, we wasn't going to do that. We wanted to surprise everyone and give everyone a really big. It's an honor.
It is an honor. Hey,
let me tell you this.
We've got Missouri Mike in the house. Welcome. What an honor to have you, Mike. Thank you for coming.
Watching this channel. He is one of the first channels we ever started watching when we started watching metal detecting channels. Back when we were just, our YouTube name was just Robert Clark back then.
Yeah.
And it's just an honor to have him in the house with us tonight.
And they're saying him. Come on, give us the name. So you all know it's a he. Did we say hello to Shannon Dalton?
I probably did not.
If not, hello, Shannon.
Hello, Shannon.
Yes.
Thanks for joining tonight. Yes. So first off, let me go ahead and get our giveaway.
Do that.
Set up.
Yes.
And what you're going to be going for tonight is, of course, a Clark's Code detecting bracelet.
Yep.
We've got a couple of wheat pennies we're going to give. We do have a little 1 gram silver coin. It's got a prospector on it. It's
Be careful, Bill, while driving.
2012, the American Prospector, and it is a 1 gram 9995 silver. So that's what you're going to be getting. And plus, we do have a awesome little sticker pack set together. So let me get that set up. And
hey, Gary, it's Coin Addiction.
It's probably going to kind of give away what they're going to have to hashtag.
Well, it will.
Yep. Maybe they might not realize.
They'll have to think about it.
So there's what you're going to be hashtagging for that. Hey, Dirt Trolling Troy, thanks for joining, Troy.
PMF, hashtag PMF. Do you all know what that stands for?
Maybe Adventures.
Adventures.
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
So you all start Listing Barnacles. Welcome. Oh my goodness.
We've got 28 in the house already.
Everyone join
Thank you all so much for joining
tonight. So start hashtagging that.
Yep.
And we'll do that giveaway around 9 o'clock, top of the hour.
Around 9 o'clock will be a good time.
Yep. So I'm going to remove that, and I want everyone that's joining us here live at the command center tonight to give a big, warm, covert welcome to none other then Jeff Plugmaster Ford.
Yes.
Hi guys. Hey, I waited till you did that, so I put my hashtag PMF in there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's funny that you guys said Missouri Mike was one of the first channels that you started watching. He was one of the first channels I stopped watching.
But yes, when we first come across metal detecting channels on YouTube, we have been surfing and watching a lot of the adventure seeking channels where they go into old buildings and old abandoned towns. And then a metal detecting channel popped up and we went over to it and started watching. And then of course you start getting all these recommendations. And I remember you and Jason with Quarter Hoarder.
He had to think of that.
Well, I start getting nervous and I start getting tongue-tied here, so you have to bear with me on that one. But yeah, you all were some of the first channels we actually started watching. Back, like I said, when we were just
AAP.
Robert Clark.
Yes.
And
one of the most memorable things
cartoons and collecting things
that I remember, and Robert remembers as well, you and Jason, y'all had a little joke contest back and forth.
Oh yeah,
I remember about the blind man that fell in the well.
Oh yeah, the dumb dad joke. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of editing involved because we yucked it up for a long time, and then I just went through and I thought it's way too long for people to watch, so I just cut out the jokes, the dumb jokes, and it was and we're like that when we get together. We tell dumb jokes all the time, so it came pretty natural to do it. But what was funny is I told him, I said, research for a week, just research dumb dad jokes, and I said we're gonna have a don't laugh challenge. He said all right. So we had a lot of the same ones, but we didn't tell, we didn't say which ones we had. It was just try to get the other guy to laugh. So it was fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed watching that. That sticks out in my mind all the time, watching that.
Hey, Jody Mosby.
Joke off back and forth. That was it.
Metal Detecting North Carolina, welcome.
And also remember that it ain't nothing to bring it up, but when we first started our channel and we changed to Clark's Cove Detecting, and of course we were telling people that we were watching at the time that we were thinking of starting our own channel, and needless to say, a lot of those channels started shunning us because we were starting a channel, and they wouldn't. Coin Addiction, thanks for joining. They just quit. If I would comment, they quit recommenting back. But I remember that Jason and you, that I had told you all, and you all had come over, and I think they'd subbed to me.
I think so.
You all had one of the subs back then, and it always stuck out in my mind that you all didn't shun me any. Where I had some channels that shunned me, Melissa, for starting a channel. And I don't name no names, I'm not going to put anyone out there on the spot like that. But
I remember you were one of the first people who regularly commented on my channel when I got it going, and I remember that. Clark's Cove Detecting. I wonder where Clark's Cove is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We.
West Virginia. Oh, you took it away.
I took that away. I did not mean to do that.
Coin Addiction had a question for you.
Let me see if
there it is.
I saw that. He was asking about the Great Silver Hoard dig. So I can tell the story. It's a long story, but I can shorten it if you'd like.
No, you go right ahead. You take your time.
A lot of you know Wes Stringer. He's a buddy of ours from south of here, and we took Wes out one time, and he wanted to know how to door knock, and he just called me on the phone one day, and we talked for an hour, and just became like best friends. He's a super guy, and he wanted to know how we got permissions, and Mikey and I said, well, we'll just come down there and we'll go door knocking, and so we did, and showed him how to do it, and he would call every once in a while saying, well, I'm getting this response. And I always tell him, just be positive, be positive. Well, he starts getting more and more permissions, and he gets permission at this house, which, it wasn't super old. The house itself wasn't super old. but it was old enough. And the guy that owned that lived in the house said, well, he goes, I don't mind if you do it. He goes, you really ought to start out back where the big barn was, the building that burned down and they bulldozed. And it's funny because I was sitting here with Wes and I'm like, if they would have said that to me, I would have said, thank you, but no, I'll stay in your yard. I know what those places are like, and they're full of nails. So, but Wes was fairly new. You know, he had found a couple mercury dimes before that, as far as silvers go. And but the guy was persistent. You ought to go out back. You ought to go out back. And so he did. And when I say out back, it's behind a privacy fence from the guy's yard. And he goes along, and the machine's just chattery as all get out. He finally digs a coin, and it winds up being a silver Washington quarter, which was his first. So he's excited about it, and he texts me and says, hey, I just dug, this. And a little bit after that, he sends me a text, and he's got like 2 halves, 2 quarters, and 3 dimes. And I go, what's going on? So I call him. He says, man, he goes, I got this signal. He said, it's really hard to find. He goes, I can't get them to hit on my metal detector, but I'm finding them with my pinpointer. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, you finding any glass? And he said, yeah, I'm finding glass. And I said, well, keep digging. You might have found a buried spot there. So he keeps going on, and every once in a while he'll send me a picture, but he's pretty into just digging. And he's doing it all with his hand trowel. Okay. So it's getting close to dark. And again, we've texted the whole time through it. And he wound up digging a 2 foot by 3 foot by about 10-inch deep hole with his hand digger. And I think Wes got 130 silver coins out of that.
Wow.
And so he calls me afterwards, and he's still not done yet. He calls me afterwards, and as he's talking, he pops a peace dollar. Oh, and then he can barely speak. So he said, I'll call you on my way home. I said, all right. So I was on my way home, and he was on his way home, and he gets to talking about it. And I'm asking him all kinds of questions. And then he said, what are you doing next Friday? And I said, clearing my schedule. And because I knew he wanted me to come down and help. He wanted it at least to be videoed. And I was like, yeah, if there's more. I said, do you think there's more? And he goes, oh, yeah, I think there's more. So I get down there that first day, and on Friday, I think we dug, for the first weekend, I think we dug 200 silver coins. And then the next weekend, we brought bigger shovels, and we decided, hey, let's just pick a spot and let's just dig. And then we'll sift through it, and we'll use our pinpointers, because there wasn't a whole lot of metal detecting usage, especially after this hunt. So we wound up digging 208 that time. And then and I know this sounds silly, we're pretty tired of digging, honestly, even though we're finding that it was back-breaking digging. You're bent over all day, and it's hot too. It wasn't like it was freezing. It was kind of hot. So we got to talking, and I said, man, wouldn't it be cool to get a skid steer in here or something, or a backhoe? And Wes looks at me and he goes, I think I can get us a mini backhoe. And I said, do you think he would let us do that? And he said, I don't know, I'll ask. So he went to the guy, and he was a little bit hesitant, but the great thing about it is this area was loaded with this crabgrass, and this guy hated crabgrass. And so he had seen where we had dug, and that we had dug out some of the crabgrass. And so Wes kind of used that approach of, hey, we'll clear out all this crabgrass, and honestly, when we get done, we'll bring in a soil preparator, and we will get it fixed back to where you're ready to plant this luscious grass that you want. He was like, oh, okay, well, all right, yeah, go ahead. So we brought that thing out, and what was funny is it had just rained the night before. We had gone a little bit, and then the backhoe was coming that next morning, and it rained overnight. When we got there were just silver coins laying out that we had dug them up, but hadn't found them because they were under dirt. So anyway, to answer his question, all total, and I think we dug 700 and something that day with the Bobcat, and then We dug another, the last time we brought Chris Heimsoth, a buddy of ours, down, and I don't remember how many we dug, but all total, we dug like 1,975 silver coins. We dug over 2,000 coins total. And, but yeah, it was fun. I know, again, it sounds silly, but we were done. We were ready for it to be over by the end. You know, it was drawn out over a month and a half. Wow. And, you know, we would do it about every week. But I mean, you know, we look back at it now. Wes has gone back. He's gone back a couple times. What we learned about the soil and why it's so hard to metal detect there. I had one of the videos where I had the new Equinox, and you could see the edge of a peace dollar sticking out of the sidewall where you dug a 4-foot trench, and you could see it sticking out, and it would not, the metal detector would not go off until I was almost touching it. Well, I had a guy reach out to me and he said, listen, I can explain to you what's going on there, why you guys aren't able to find that. He said that high heat coupled from the fire, it was a 3-story building and it burnt for a long time, but coupled with all the elements of iron and everything else that was in the soil, create some kind of magnetism in the soil, which pretty much null and voids what your metal detector can do. So it was hard. You know, we learned a lot about our machines during that time because we changed settings all the time. I was running the CTX at that time, and I had a one that was called a Dox 2-tone ferrous combo, and it seemed to work. I could find them, and so Chris, that last day, he matched my settings and he started finding them too. So, but yeah, that's one of those things that will never happen again. You know, are there still coins there? Yeah, there's probably a lot still there.
Now, let me ask, what did y'all ever determine why all them coins were there?
We know it's one of 2 gentlemen that had buried it. They're both passed. But the story was one of them was a coin barrier. He was a known coin barrier. He didn't believe in the banks. You know, they'd gone through the Depression. That's when this building was built, honestly. And he prospered during the Depression by selling certain items. But the guy that lived there, you know, he told us, he said, he goes, oh yeah, the old story was a guy came by to sell a vacuum one time and they really liked the vacuum. He said, well, let me go out back and dig you up some money. And he really was. But as far as we can tell, it was under the back porch of this building, which sat right behind their house.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And one of his grandsons was there also. And he got a kick out of seeing it, you know, and it was again, a win-win situation. This guy was a big finders keepers kind of guy. We offered him coins and he didn't want them. And he just said, no, you guys found them. So it was, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds like once in a lifetime deal there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it would pique people's interest to try and determine where barns were at old home sites.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I got to tell you what's funny. So the whole time we were out there, and of course we didn't know how the barn sat, but the whole time we were out there, we were focusing on going a certain direction that we thought the barn or the building was. And so we thought, okay, if the porch was here, then down this row is where it should be. And that last day when we sealed it up and the owner was out there, you know, inspecting how well we had done, making it nice for him, we were talking about it. And he goes, oh, well, the building sat this way. And we're like, oh my goodness. So there could be a ton of coins this way. We don't care. We're done. Maybe in 50 years, someone else will do it, but I'm not going to again. It was fun, but yeah. So that was, you know, I think I wound up getting 6 or 7 videos, and a couple of them are well over an hour.
Wow.
And you know, you don't like, as a creator, you don't want a video that long, just because, you know, people don't watch that long. But there was just no way of saying, I'm not going to record that handful. You know, you just recorded it all. And honestly, I edited out a ton of footage and it still was that long. And I can't remember all total. I figured up one time like 8 hours of footage I had through that whole thing.
Wow.
But it's just like, how do you not video this? Wes would find something and go, "You want to video this?" And I go, "Man, I'm tired. I don't know that I want to get up and walk over there." And he'd go, "All right." And I go, "Is it good?" And he'd go, "I can see 3 or 4 in a sidewall." And I'll go, "All right, I'll come over." It was this, we sat out there. We got out there at daylight. And the one thing, a lot of people thought that we were workers. This was in the heart of town. I mean, it's downtown. People were seeing us all the time. And we thought we were going to lose the permission because when we brought the Bobcat in, it got a lot of attention to him that he didn't want. And so, but we convinced him to bring it in one more time because we were going to go ahead and fix it after that. So, and he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So we tipped him well with some. He had certain things he liked, so we would buy those for him, and he was fine. It was a great landowner to deal with.
That's cool.
That is.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, especially when you find someone that's willing to let you do stuff like that. Yeah.
For sure. That doesn't happen often. Yeah.
No.
A lot better than the lady that says you can metal detect her yard, and then when she sees you digging holes, say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
It does.
It does. It happens. So.
Remind everyone, hashtag PMF and get in on tonight's giveaway. We'll be doing at the top of the hour, trying for that silver coin tonight.
Yep.
It's a little, it's a gram.
Yeah.
1 gram silver prospecting coin. Hey, Swamp Rat Nation, welcome.
Hey, Swampy,
Thanks,
welcome.
for joining.
What you cooking?
Oh, going to start talking about food now. We can't do that. We're not doing that tonight. No food. Yeah. I couldn't imagine coming across a silver hoard like that.
Oh my goodness, that would be.
I mean,
yeah,
that would blow my mind.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It blew ours. It, we didn't realize after the first couple of weekends how sore our jaws were from smiling and how much dirt we had on our teeth.
Yeah.
Just because you're smiling nonstop. I don't remember how many times I'd look at Wes and go, "This is ridiculous." He was like, "It is. It's just nonstop."
Wow.
What gets me is about people that buried their money like that, and then they never told no one, and they pass away.
Yeah.
And die with that secret and never tell no one about it. I mean, it makes you wonder what they were thinking. I mean, were they that greedy that they were going to die and no one else was going to get that stuff? I mean,
well, I've got a great story for you. This is another video that I had. I can't remember what it's called, but it was actually, I think it was before the silver hoard. I knew an old gentleman lived down in Arkansas, and we'd gone to church with him, and he was really interested in my metal detecting. I didn't realize why. Well, his wife came down with cancer, and he calls me up and said, "Do you still have your metal detector?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you have a really good one?" And I said, "Well, I've got, my pulse induction machine that'll go super deep." I said, "What's going on? What do you need?" And he goes, "Well," he said, "back in the 80s, I buried a 5-gallon bucket full of silver." And he said, "I need this to pay for her treatment." And I said, "Did you forget where it was?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I'm pretty sure where it was." And I said, "Well, I can come down and help you." And he said, "All right, let's just plan on that." This man is in his upper 70s. I get down there and drive up, and it looks like a garden has been plowed from all the holes that he had dug. He had a cheap metal detector, one of the bounty hunters he picked up at Walmart or wherever he got it. And which you would think a 5-gallon bucket full of silver would be easy. So it'd be easy to find even with that. But I asked him, I said, "How deep did you dig or bury it?" And he said, "Oh, I would say the lid's probably 8 inches. I was like, "Okay." And I said, "And it's full?" And he said, "Yeah, it's Morgan and Peace dollars, $1,000 worth, 1,000 of them in there." And I'm like, "Okay." So we needed to find it because he needed the money. Well, and I have to say it was like 98 degrees this day. It was so hot. And but we checked and we checked, and I was checking all this place because he told me it's right here where I've dug. And I said, okay. So I checked it and checked it and checked it. And I was using the pulse induction. And those of you that have ever used pulse induction, it's not a number game, it's a tone. So you're hearing a threshold all the time of ooh, and if it goes ooh, it's lead. If it goes ooh, it's a high tone, and that's what you wanted, was a high tone on that. So I went and every time it made any shift in pitch, he went to digging it, and I'd say, don't dig that, it's a nail. Don't dig this one, it's sheet metal. Don't dig this, you don't need to dig those. It's not the target we're looking for. And so anyway, we got to a point and he said, let's take a break. And I said, all right. And he said, I'm gonna jump in the golf cart and go grab some water for us. I said, that would be great. And so he's sitting there and I'm sitting on a tree and there's a pond right behind us. And I look over and I see a flat rock. And I thought, that's out of place. I get up, turn my machine on, and I wave that machine over, and it just blows my ears off. So I just go and I sit back down on the tree, and he comes back and he's got the water. And I said, what are the chances that David would have put a big rock on top of where he buried it so he would never forget where it is? And he goes, there might be a good chance that David did that. And I said, I found your bucket. He goes, where is it? I said, it's under that rock. So he goes over and flips the rock and digs down, and pretty soon, boom, we hit the bucket. He brings it up, and it was, that was great. But the reason I said that, because you talked about not telling anyone. No one in his family knew where these buckets were except him. And the reason they didn't, because if they ever disappeared, he never wanted in his mind to consider that they might have done it. And I thought that's pretty good. That is pretty good that, you would never have to wonder, did my son do that or did this? So that being said, after we found it, he goes, you want to go for a ride? I said, sure. So we get in the golf cart and we're driving all over his property, and he helps out a lot of people. He's got a lot of cabins built on his place, and anyone that's in need, he would let them stay, no electricity, anything like that, but they take care of him. We get to a point and he just stops the golf cart. And he said, you see that tree right there? And I said, yeah. He said, now, if you see that tree and you see that little hut on the other side, I said, yeah. He goes, now look behind you, there's another hut. And I said, yeah. He goes, it's associated with that tree. I said, oh, you've got another one? And he said, yeah. I said, do you want me to find it for you? And he goes, no, I know where it is. I said, we're here, wouldn't take long. He said, all right, let's go ahead and do it. So he starts walking to where he thinks it is. Well, I've already got my machine on, and of course I'm swinging it as we go. And I stop about 15 feet shy of that tree, and I go, here it is. And he said, it can't be. And I said, I'm telling you it is. It's right here under my coil. And he said, Jeff, it just can't be. He goes, I know, I buried it over here. And I said, David, it didn't move.
Yeah.
I said, we can dig down to the lid if you want. And so we did. And sure enough, there was the bucket. He started crying though, because that was the man as sharp as a tack for as old as he was. And he just said, he goes, my memory's always been my best care, my best quality. And he said, and I mean, he's just bawling, and now I've lost it. And I said, well, I know where it is. If they ever need it, just give me a call. I'll come find it. So I thought that was neat that he still wouldn't tell any of his family, but he needed someone to know, and he trusted me enough to do it. So, but yeah, I mean, I can understand not telling any family because, it would be bad if it disappeared. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Alabama, welcome.
Hey, Jim Steele.
Hey,
Thanks.
Jim Steele.
Plugmaster, Texas Plug Riches is wanting to know, how is Mikey doing?
Tracy, Mikey's he's in the chat, or he was. He probably fell asleep while he's in the chat. He's doing good. He's had a rough year. He really has. After his stroke, then he got the vaccine and he started having seizures, and then he had more seizures and more seizures. and they finally got his medication right. And what was bad about it, every time he had the seizures, his speech would go back to how it was after his stroke. And so he would have trouble. But now, unfortunately, he's speaking well again. So he's talking all the time. I know he's in the chat. That's why I'm doing that, though.
Yes, well, I seen him earlier in the chat. And also there was a question earlier with all of the coins that you found there behind that barn. What was the oldest coin?
It was a Morgan silver dollar, and it wasn't super old. I think it was 1889 or something like. It wasn't real. I mean, it wasn't an old. It was definitely a junk silver hoard. This guy was putting up, in case something happened, and so it wasn't. I mean, we found. I can't even remember. Maybe 13 peace dollars and 7 Morgans, if that. Might not even been that much. But yeah.
Wow.
I see Jim's in the chat, and he's asking, how's the knee, Jeff? And I'll just say I get asked all the time through email if I'm done, and I want to say no, but my knee says yes. I meet with my surgeon in 2 days. Monday, I go to the surgeon, and we're going to try to figure out what's going on. And what's so weird about this, so I was playing disc golf with my son last year. He qualified for the Junior World Championships up in Illinois. So we went up there, and I was just throwing a practice round with him, not doing anything special, and just throwing a regular, and something popped really bad in my knee, and my knee swelled up, and I could barely walk. And I was on the far end of this woolly course, so it was really rough. I got out and got to where I could walk again, so I continued to caddy for him. And so then I went, and when I got back, I went to the doctor, and they did MRIs, and they said, everyone was telling me, and everyone I talked to it was a meniscus tear. And so I studied up on that, and it sounded like, yeah, that's exactly what it was a meniscus tear. But it didn't show up like that on the MRI, which for me, I never do show up right on MRIs. I've had 4 shoulder surgeries, and I've never shown a tear on an MRI, but every time it's been torn up. And so he treated it as if I had a meniscus tear. And so I really limited what I did. But what was bad, they had taken x-rays as well. And with the x-rays and the MRI, when he called me in, he said, my goodness, he said, you have suffered some major trauma to your knee. And I was like, well, it didn't seem like it was that bad. I just threw a disc, I twisted, and it popped. And he goes, no, this happened a while back. And I was like, well, I'm trying to think. And he said, you have what's called paratrooper's knee. Mm. I said, what on earth is paratrooper's knee? And he said, so where the fibula head, a lot of people don't know, I didn't know, you have your knee joint, and then right below it on the outside, you have a fibula joint. It's a totally different joint from your knee. And I was out hiking, and I fell from a cliff. My toe hung on a branch, and I snapped my ankle. Well, apparently at the same time, I shattered my fibula head and didn't know it. My whole leg was sore. You can imagine. I snapped my ankle in half. And but all we treated was my ankle break, never knowing that my fibula head was shattered, splintered. And but it did, I didn't think much of it because I was walking around on crutches and all that. So long story short, hey, there's Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey, I was just popping in to say hi real quick because I just realized I'm an hour behind.
It's okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're on my time.
And I am, and I had to pop in to say hi to you.
Well, hello. Are you
But I
finding
got
anything
somebody else
down
that
there?
wants to say hi too. You can see what kind of tent I'm in.
Which one is it? Hi, Gypsy.
Hey, Gypsy.
How are you?
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you.
Wow.
How'd the hunt go today?
It's been fun. It's been fun. I planted a lot of silver today. I'm just worn out from planting all that silver.
And she wouldn't tell me where it was at.
Do what?
Huh?
I wouldn't tell her where all the silver was.
Yeah.
I
The
did
special
ask.
one.
But
We-
this is Robert and Melissa Clark, the Clark's Cove Detective.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, she's probably not put a face to us, but
To us,
we comment from time to time. God, we are so bad about not watching, and we don't
I
do
know
that.
them.
We don't do that on
Everybody
purpose.
knows Plug Master Ford.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Jim
But
Steele
I
says,
really
wow,
can't
three
see the chat.
beautiful women.
Huh?
Jim Steele says, wow, three beautiful women.
Oh,
Jim's such a sweetheart. Hang on a second. I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit.
yeah, there's a lot of people in here right now.
Yeah, here. I'll give you a little.
Oh, cool.
Good deal.
Yeah, it just quieted down at the Garrett tent. So we took this
Did you,
moment.
Oh, but it was great.
Good
did you
to
guys
see
get any of those storms
Good
today
to
that
see
came
Coming
through here?
on.
What
Did we
you
get
say?
what?
Did you guys get any of those storms that came through here today?
We lucked out.
Yeah.
Did you?
It was hot though. It
Yeah.
was just
Real hot.
plain hot. Texas heat. But I gotta go. But good seeing y'all.
Good seeing you.
Bob,
Gypsy.
Bob, I said hi.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
He's right over there. Sorry about that. I'm actually here with Diggin.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, she's at some tables way over there. But I did want to pop in because I wanted to say hi to Jeff.
Well, hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing
And I
good.
wanted to say hi to my favorite Clarks. You never
Yeah.
know, my ride home is a long one, so I might have to pop
Stop
in West Virginia.
Hey, we're right
Stop
here.
by,
Just
you
let
know.
us know, and you know where we're at.
The B&B is always open.
And the road is fixed, and you got clean sheets on the bed.
Yep.
Oh, I know that. And I wish I could have done this earlier when Digger Dawn was still here, but she's already gone.
Oh, wow.
So I will talk to you guys soon. Everybody in chat. I will see you next Saturday for sure. And Jeff, great seeing you again. And
Great seeing you.
Robert and Melissa, I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Safe travels.
Be safe.
All right, thanks. Peace, everybody.
Bye.
See ya. Awesome.
That was cool.
Good deal.
It was cool seeing Gypsy.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's another one we've been watching. We've been watching Gypsy for a long. She's never put a face to us.
No, and when we
But
buy things, we always go through Digger's
Dig-
Den.
Digger's Den.
I think Brian Harvey is his name, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, he was at a Virginia hunt, and we didn't even didn't even realize it.
Didn't even realize it.
Leave it up to us to.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yep. It's how it goes.
But you were talking about your knee. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. I was sitting there going, what was I talking about? So
Yeah.
anyway, so for the last 5 or 6 years, Mikey and I have gone detecting, and it has gotten worse and worse all the time. And there's been some times that something was happening in my knee. I didn't know what it was, but I told him, I said, I got to be done for the day. Well, where that joint is, where that fibula head was in there, it had absolutely reamed out that joint. And so my fibula would just flop back and forth. It still does, but it would just flop back and forth, and it was just brutally painful. It would go away, though. That's what's weird. It would hurt really bad, and then it would be okay for a while. Sometimes it would swell up, and it wasn't as good after that. So we're going to see if they're going to reconstruct it. If they can reconstruct it and not replace it, that might be the best bet on that part. But then I still have the meniscus part, and but I got 2 cortisone shots before we went to England, because I was like, I'm not missing England. I don't care, even if I couldn't dig, I was like, I'll just go and watch. I'm not going to miss England. I'd already paid for it, but I got the cortisone shot in the meniscus part first, and it really didn't help a ton, which then I realized most of my pain was coming from that fibula joint. And so I went and got one there, it's kind of a dangerous shot because there's a nerve that runs through there. And if they hit that nerve, it'll mess up your foot, for the rest of your life, which anyway, but it worked out good. It was a great shot. And bad thing is it was supposed to last 3 months. And I got it a little bit before we went to England, and 5 days after we got back, it was starting to wear off. And so, does a brace help? Mona asked. It helps a little bit, especially right now with it wearing off a little bit. I've been wearing a brace, but when the cortisone shot wears off all the time, believe it or not, the brace actually hurts my knee more because of that pressure, and it's pushing in. And so, yeah. Anyway, I'm a wimp, I know, but it just, digging all day, it's just not fun right now. And so that's why, I mean, I do have, I was talking to someone earlier. I've got I've got the video from last year in England, and I got the video from this year in England, and another video that Mike and I had one of my customers here at the shop invited us out to hunt. And so we hunted that yard and it was a good hunt. It was fun. Yes, Jim, I use that cream almost daily, and it does help. Mikey's saying to tell the potbelly pig story. Did you see that?
Yes, please do tell that story when you get a chance.
Yes.
Go for it. Yes.
It was so I did. I will say I try not to do clickbait, but I did a little bit on that video. So we're hunting this, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm not kidding you. We're driving, and that's kind of how we do it. We pick an area that we want, and then we try to go where people don't go. And we found a house that was, I don't know, late 1800s. And I just said, hey, let's hunt that one. And I can't remember if the girl said, she said, yeah, go ahead, watch out for the pig, which I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay. We didn't see a pig. And we start metal detecting. And the biggest pig I've ever seen just comes out of the bushes. And it really kind of just ignored us a little bit. I was on full guard, It's like she said, watch out for the pig. That's a pig I need to watch out for. It's huge. And so anyway, I had hunted out away from the house a little bit, and I just done a piece. I dug something, and I turned around and I looked, and here's Mike down on his knees with his back turned to this pig, and the pig's coming straight for him. So a true friend that I am, I start recording instead of saying anything, and anyway, the pig wound up ignoring him, but it made such a great thumbnail. And I don't know what I said, police called or something. But that big old pig was just coming. It looked like that pig was coming for Mike in that thumbnail. But it was, yeah. We've had, oh man, the stories we could tell. We had the only time, because we hunt a lot of bad neighborhoods. I'll be honest with you. In most towns, that's where all the old houses are, because they're kind of dilapidated and they're rough neighborhoods. And we never really, we don't think much of it. We kind of watch out for each other all the time. And but we're hunting. This is here in Springfield, hunting an area, and there's this guy out here that is cracked out. I mean, he is messed up, and he's walking along, and he's got a pit bull on a leash, and the pit bull, is acting aggressive, and we see him coming down the road, and I'm on my knees, and he's just talking, there's no one there. He's just talking loud, weird stuff. And then he lets the pit bull go.
Oh.
And it's coming right at us in this yard. Well, I've got my digger. So, I get my digger. That dog runs right by Mike. Dog runs right by me and just keeps going. But that's the only time that I've really been scared that something bad's getting ready to happen. And the crackhead just walked right by too. So, I don't know if we just held still enough he didn't see us or what, but
he was after something else.
he was in a different zone.
Thank goodness, their mind was somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness, this was years ago when I was still living at home. I come in one night late, and our neighbor had Rottweilers, and I mean these two dogs were huge. And I remember one night coming in, and I'm walking down through the yard heading to the house, and here they come at me, both of them. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had my gun with me. I pulled the gun out and shot in the ground, and they stopped. And I was telling them, I was going, if you make another move towards me, I'm going to shoot you. I don't want to. They stood there for about 30 seconds, looked at me, and then they took off down the yard and on down the road. But I mean, these dogs, they both were well over 100 pounds each. And,
Oh, yeah.
I would have hated to have to shoot one of them, but if they would have made another move towards me, I guess I'd have had to shoot one of them or both of them.
Yeah. And that's one of those deals. I mean, I love dogs. I love animals, and I would not have wanted to, but you know, I also like my jugular veins to stay intact. So
yeah, I don't want to have to go get stitches from dog bites. So,
exactly, and it was just a tense moment. But oh yeah, we've had. I should write a book sometime about stories on the road. Stories of a metal detectorist on the road, because we've traveled to some of the most bizarre places. We've had Mikey's gotten dog bit. That was a funny one too. Not to him, but more so to me. Mikey's he's posting the machine turn off story, so I'll tell that one real quick because that is funny. That's in one of my videos. I will admit. Okay, I'm 56. Sometimes I'm 5. I will tell you that. I act 5. So I had told Mike many times when we're hunting these yards, because he liked to put all these discrimination patterns on his, you know, and I told him, I said, Mike, when you're doing that, you're slowing down the machine. And it's just like your computer. If you've got multiple windows open on your computer, it runs slower. So the less you have it doing, the deeper you're going to go and the better the machine's going to run. And he goes, yeah, I do. I've got it wide open. So we're hunting this yard, and I knew he didn't have it wide open. I knew he was fibbing to me. So he likes it quiet. He doesn't like to hear all the chatter. So he's down digging a hole, and I just walk up and turn off his machine, and I walk off. And so I get over and I turn the camera on, and I'm giddy as a little schoolgirl, just with myself, and I'm laughing. And I'm saying I just turned Mikey's machine off. He doesn't know it, and he's just bebopping along, detecting, and he's looking at me like, why is this knucklehead laughing? Why is he smiling? And I'm about to lose it, I mean, like I said, I'm like a little child when it comes to things like that. And it was quite a while, and I finally had to tell him, dude, check your detector, and it was turned off. So I told him, I said, I knew you had discrimination on. I knew you couldn't hear everything.
I know Melissa was one time, she was detecting and she wasn't getting any signals. And I said, well, do you have your detector on? Yeah. She said, what did you just say?
Yes.
Well, you have your detector on.
We had went down to Virginia to meet a couple of channels, and we had just met him, and so I had turned on my detector and I was doing my little thing, and I thought, well, I'm not getting any signals at all. And he was like, well, do you have your machine turned on? And thinking, wow.
Hey, John, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. That was the case with Mike, though. He didn't.
Tony was asking, how many years have you been detecting for, Jeff?
Oh, Mike and I have hunted together, I think, for 7 years now, and I hunted a year before that. I hunted when I was younger with my dad. Not serious. It was pretty much, hunt around the farm. I will tell a cool little story. So when we were young, my mom worked for Lowrance Electronics, which is now Magellan, down in Oklahoma, and they had a big company get together, and they gave everyone metal detectors to use, and they had tokens buried everywhere. And so you could dig these tokens, and you had to pay $2. You took your token and $2, and they gave you a prize associated with that number, which was great. And of course, we'd won like 8 6-packs of Coke, and my dad was like, guys, let's cool it a little bit, we didn't have a whole lot of money, and it was, we had all the Coke we needed by that time. So we're sitting there, and it's about time to go. And my mom, of course, she's talking to people she works with as we're leaving. And I look down, and in that Oklahoma clay, in a crack, I could see the edge of a token. And I bumped my brother on the shoulder. I bumped him on the shoulder, and I said, pointed down, and he looks down. He reaches down and grabs it and says, "Dad, just one more, just one more." And he said, "Well, all right." He gave him those $2, and my brother ran up there, and of course my mom's still talking, and all of a sudden we hear on the PA, "We have a grand prize winner." And we turn and look, and my brother's jumping up and down, and we won a mini bike, a Honda 50 mini bike. So that was exciting. Our first hunt we ever went to, and we won the grand prize. But we didn't do a whole lot after that. My dad and my stepmom moved, and so it was, just wasn't the time to do it. But I always loved it. I always wanted to do it. And in fact, there was a gentleman here in town that used to cut my hair, and he'd been detecting since the 70s. And he, I went in there more just to hear the stories than anything. And so, I just kept on and kept on. And he always invited me. He said, "Just go with me sometime." And I was playing basketball in college, and so I really didn't have the time, or I didn't make the time, I should say. And so, but yeah, I've probably been at it, what I would consider hardcore, for about 8 years now. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been a while. I mean, it has been a long time, a lot of machines, a lot of hours swinging, and we go a little bit different than a lot of people. When we go, it's all day, and at least. And so, we get a lot of hours in on our detectors and all of our gear, and that's a good way to learn your machines, is just swing those rascals all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, we're Garrett people. I'm one of those kind of person, when I get something and I stick with it. It's not that I wouldn't want to try other machines, but I'm at the point where I don't want to start trying to learn something new, especially when I know the machine I'm using so well. But in the machines you've used, what's been some of the best machine you feel, in your opinion, to use?
Well, I always loved the CTX, the MindLab CTX. It saved me from digging a lot of trash. It's a really good machine. The processors are slower than what's coming out now. And one issue that we always had with the CTX was, in dry conditions, it did not go very deep. I don't know what it is about it, but I'd asked one of the dealers that I know about it, and he said, "Yeah, that's a known issue with it. Loose, fluffy soil. So if you come through and a field's just been plowed, you're not going to get much depth. Dry conditions, you're not going to get much depth." And we experienced that. Well, we hunt a lot in the summer, and so it was kind of getting to me. I'd sit there and we don't live out there where you guys have 1850s houses everywhere. We live out here where there's an 1850 house in one county. I mean, they're rare to get to hunt. But this one summer, I got us on quite a few of them. And we were hunting them. And we just say, I can't get over 4 inches here. And Mikey was the same way. We were both swinging CTXs. And so that's when I started doing a little bit of study on it. And then we get to a house one time, and it was an 1880, I think, house. And Mike broke out this Amphibio, which is an Nocta Macro at the time. It was the Amphibio. And I had seen some videos of guys over in England and, talking about how deep this machine was. Well, it was a dry day, and we went out, and we were hunting this place, and he dug a Tootsie toy at about 10 inches. It was incredible. And I was like, wow. And so we went to another yard after that, and it was a yard where I hunted it for a little bit, and I said, "Are you ready to go?" And he kind of looked at me like, "What?" I said, "Are you getting over 4 inches?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm digging 8 and 9 inch targets." And I was like, "I can't get anything over 4 inches." And I said, "Next time you get a signal, call me over. I want to hear it." And so he got a signal. I could hear it in his headphones. It didn't sound like a great signal, but it was a signal. I couldn't get anything on my CTX. And so I got a little frustrated. It wound up being not a good target, but it was a target that should have made a noise on my CTX, and it didn't. And so we did some more experiments, and I just decided, I said, I can't keep getting these permissions and know that I'm not performing how I need to get to the things I want to find. And so I got an Amphibio. And it was a learning curve. I used the CTX for six or 7 years, and it was natural for me, and in wet conditions, I still to this day in wet conditions, it's the best machine out there. It really is. It's just a great machine. And so then I used the Amphibio for a while, and a Simplex came out, and I started using that as my water machine. It's a beast of a machine. That's a pretty inexpensive machine. And I will just tell you, I had an Equinox before that, and I got rid of it and replaced it with the Simplex. It just performs really good in the water. And again, for the price on it, if it washes downstream, it's not as bad as if your CTX does. So
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, oh, well, I'll get another. And then the Legend came out, and I was enjoying these Nokta machines, and the Legend came out, and I was really excited about the simultaneous multi-frequency. And so I used it last year in England, but I didn't have the extended shaft, and I'm a tall guy, and I was having to bend over to hunt with it there, so I really couldn't go very long with it in England. So I'd try to do a half a day if I could, and so I would most of the time go back to the Amphibio. That was last year, and so this year I took the Legend, and I can't remember what I took as my back. Oh, I took the Amphibio as the backup, and so I really was like, I'm going to, I had gotten the extension, so I could use it again. And so I hit it hard with that, and I hunted, and I had a really good trip this time. I found it's rare for me with those guys that we're hunting with. We had Nugget, Noggin, Preacher Digger, just a lot of guys. Tony, 5280 Adventures, DK. We just a lot of people, Mikey and others, and so Rob Finds Treasure was with us too. But anyway, long story short, I wound up being the Silver King for the week. I found more than any of the other guys did, which is great. Yeah. And I like to say that every once in a while. It makes me feel good because it won't happen again. And so there were a lot of guys. Tony had a Manticore, Buddy had a Manticore, and Brandon had a Manticore, and they did really good. Now Brandon switched back to his CTX because he knew it better, and he was afraid he wasn't doing it right, so he switched back to his CTX. Buddy used the Manticore. It was new to him too, but Tony used his Manticore. Oh, and Preacher Digger had a Manticore also, and he used that all week, and they did good. They really did. They found a lot of coins, and of course, I was curious about this machine, all the hype that it was getting. Is this truly what they're saying it is? And so I was really paying attention to what the other guys were doing, how they were doing, what they were finding. And then whenever we were leaving, the night before we were leaving, Buddy, he sells metal. He's got Georgia Buddy metal detecting. He sells metal detectors. He came over to me and showed me how it collapses down, and I said, man, that's really cool. And he goes, so you got room in your suitcase? I said, how much you want for it? So he gave me a good deal on it, and I went, put it in my suitcase. So I brought it home, and I haven't used it until today. So we had our club hunt today for our 24th State Relic Recovery Club. And I'm going to just tell you this. I was really impressed with that machine so far. And I just had it set up standard. I really lowered the sensitivity down. Of course, where we have our hunt, nothing's over 4 inches, so you don't need a lot of sensitivity. But it was really chattery because there was a bunch of other detectors out there, so I really lowered it down. And but man, it's really quick. It's a really fast machine. It locks onto targets good, and so you know, I don't know. I still haven't decided what I'm going to swing all the time, but I will say that today I was really impressed with that machine. I looked at Mikey and I go, I kind of like this. And I kept telling Brandon, I said, Brandon, you need to put more time on your Manticore, because he's like me. You know, we've hunted with he got his CTX in 2010, I think, or 2012 when they first came out.
Yeah.
And he uses it and he knows it really good, but he also knows, just like I do, the processors are slower, and it does have that trouble in the dry ground. So, but I mean, it is a good machine so far. I didn't have any problems with it, so it'll be neat to customize it. I do know the high tones weren't as high as I need. You know, we all have our hearing quirks, and and I'm going to bring that, you know, a silver dime. I want that silver dime to, you know, kind of slap me. Hey, wake up, you know, it's here. And it's kind of a mid-tone. And I was like, well, you know, to me, it's like, it sounded like a penny. And I don't get excited about pennies a whole lot of time. And so I'm going to do some changing on it. But I'm going to put some hours on it, and just to see, you know, I love new technology all the time. And honestly, it did. I mean, even though we don't have dry conditions in England that you just don't have, it's always wet, but we did have some fluffy fields, you know, that had been plowed and hadn't really been packed and rolled yet. And so, it did, you know, it did pretty good. So I'm excited to start piddling with it. I'll just say that.
I know of the new machines that's come out that I've been watching people use. I like the Legend and the Deus 2. Have you got to use that machine any?
I haven't used the Deus 2. No. A lot of guys do. Mikey uses the Deus, not all the time, but Mike probably owns 100 machines. He doesn't know he owns them, but they're everywhere. But you know, he likes using the Deus, but he likes it. You know, the lightness of it is one thing, and I think he said, you know, he's had his Deus so long, I think the battery is about done, so he's going to have to either get a replacement battery or go for the new Deus 2. I've never played with one. I haven't messed with one. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to it, but there's so many good machines, and it's a little bit different, you know, that swinging a stick. I know a lot of people say, oh, I only hunt by tone. Well, my knee hurts, so I hunt by tone, but then I check. And if it's, you know, I don't dig every signal. Well, in England I do, but here I don't. You know, I try to decide, and I've said that on shows before, where most people get over a signal and just try to get it to give them one reason to dig it. I get over a signal and just hoping it'll give me one reason not to dig it. Because I'll go on. I was just, you know.
Yeah, I think we're all, it's me. Depending on where I'm at, if I'll dig every signal, you know, if I'm in a new spot just coming in, usually we'll dig just about every signal we get. I have found that some of them crappy signals, there's some good stuff in there with them.
Yeah.
So
you know, there's people that will preach, do not dig iron.
And
he found a sweet Tootsie Toy
under a big iron loop. I was getting iron signal, but then I just get that little high tone squeak, and I thought, I'm going to dig it, and there comes this big iron. It's about that big loop, and then there's the Tootsie Toy right underneath of it. So that's why I kind of say you ain't dig it all.
Yeah. We had, it was funny, we had at our club hunt today, I had provided them with a gold mercury dime. It wasn't really gold, but it was gold plated mercury dime. And so they had buried it, and it was for a special prize, which none of us knew what it was. And I don't know if they put a piece of iron over it on purpose or in the hole with it. So when we first went out, and we go 10 to noon, and then we break for lunch, and everybody turns in their finds, you know, here's the number that I dug. And when they got done, they said, well, the gold dime has not been found. And so, it's the only one out there, is what they said. So they went and necked the field down and put all of us in this field. And we're all hunting and hunting and hunting, and we still couldn't find it. And then they necked the field down more, and we're still going. And so one of the guys went by, and I heard him get over a target. And he goes, well, there's too many machines close. And he put his shovel there. He said, I'm going to dig that after you guys go through. And of course, you know, the fact that he's digging a target and we're only looking for one dime, you wonder, okay, is that it? So he pops the target, and it winds up being a piece of steel. Well, what are you supposed to always do, guys? After you put your hole back, what are you supposed to do?
Go back over it.
Recheck your hole. He did not. And then Brandon walks through there and boop, 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 and he digs it out of his hole.
Yeah,
And he won an Equinox 900 with an extra coil. So it was a nice prize, you know. But yeah, it's we've had that happen many times. I dug 3 or 4 coins today out of someone's hole. And you know, when people are planting, sometimes they drop a couple in the same hole. I mean, and but yeah, always recheck the hole. That's the number one thing.
Well, see, we were at a seeded hunt in Virginia back in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a gold coin planted, and they put a horseshoe over top of it. And someone found the horseshoe, and then went right on, and then someone else come along and found the gold.
Oh man!
And
Yeah.
even I started going over people's plugs where they were.
Mm-hmm.
Found a trime someone had left, and Mike with Great Finds was standing right there with me when I found it. And I was like, man, you got to check them holes twice. I mean,
Yeah.
even a third time, maybe. Even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see that, Melissa. We're going to do this giveaway real quick, Jeff. So
I'm entered.
Yep. Everyone just
joining hashtag PMF for
We'll give you
Plugmaster Ford,
a
and
few
we'll give you
seconds
about
to
a
get that
minute.
done. Yep.
And we'll go ahead and do this drawing real quick and see who's going to win this giveaway tonight. And we've had a good time tonight. We want to thank Jeff for being our guest tonight. Absolutely. Awesome. Just that's all I can say is thanks.
Yep. That's right, Florida Thunder Digging with Rob. You got to recheck.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, always. Even if it's just with your pinpointer.
Yeah.
Down in there and recheck, but definitely always re-swing over your holes because you just never know. People miss a lot of stuff, and you know, one machine might pick up something. It happens. You know, one machine might pick up something, another machine might not, due to settings or ground conditions. I mean, there's so many factors that.
Hello, Gulami Barnaby. Welcome.
That you can go in with that. Just always recheck.
Missouri Mike says, great show.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for hanging in.
Thanks for staying awake, Mikey.
We appreciate you joining us this evening, definitely.
Yes, we have had a good time, but yeah. Let's go over here and do this giveaway.
Let's do this.
I think we give everyone
enough time to enter in hashtag PMF.
We've got 42 in the house, and we've
36
got 36 entries. So we're going to start our countdown, and good luck to everyone. And I'll let you start there.
Okay. 10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
6,
and and 1.
Good luck, everyone.
See, who do we have winners tonight? Going to win the little silver
Scott McClory. Scott McClory, you still in chat?
Let's make sure. He should be. I seen him in there, but we'll give him just about a minute to say, yes, I am still here. And I need you to check to see.
He is here, Scott McClory.
Awesome. Check.
Okay.
Scott, I don't think we have Scott's address, do we?
I'm not real sure, but I want to say that we do.
We might. We keep everyone's addresses.
Give me just a second here to look.
Look through our through the files here.
Yeah, through the files. Yes, because he won a giveaway on the 14th of January.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I should still have his address. Would it still be the same as what I had? Yeah. He says yes, you do.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Awesome. Then we'll get that. And like we said, you'll be getting the. Let me get rid of this. Okay, there we go. You'll be getting the Carts Cove bracelet, a couple of wheat pennies, and the little 1 gram silver American Prospecting coin and a sticker pack. So congratulations,
Absolutely.
Scott.
Yes. Congratulations, Scott.
Awesome. Yes. I want to thank everyone for participating in that tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thanks, Dan.
When you go detecting, where is your favorite spots to detect? Do you like fields, home sites, beach hunting, or just a variety?
I'm a yard digger.
You're a yard digger.
That's my preferred. I just enjoy that. I mean, I don't mind fields, especially Civil War hunting, which we don't do a whole lot of. We don't pursue it. We enjoy doing it a couple times a year. But most of the time we're just yard hunting, and we research. We do a lot of research on towns, on areas. We spend a lot of time on the internet looking. Mikey does, and I do, and then we kind of put notes together. And we kind of have a certain size town that we, for some reason, do really good in, and so we kind of look for towns that have that population now, and then we go back and we study history and the demographics of way back as far as we can go back. And I have this stupid little formula that I came up with, this many families at that time, this many people in a family, this many houses, and probably lost half of them and then lost half of them again. And there ought to be this many houses that we would like to hunt in that town. And if it kind of meets the requirements or the expectations, then we do a lot of Google Street View, and we drive around the town and just look. Okay, you look for president named streets. Those are usually older. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 streets. Those are usually older because that's where town started. And so, we drive a lot. Google Maps. We do Street View, and we're driving and just looking to see if we can find any of those houses, and if there's enough for us to hunt, then I usually hook us up with a hotel room and we take off, and we'll try to drive half. And we put some miles, especially before I had this shop here. We would go 3-4 days at a time. We would drive up to Iowa, to Nebraska, Kansas, Illinois, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Just we would just drive, and so I'd get us a room. We would take off driving when I got done with something. And Mikey is blessed where he works. He's earned tons of vacation, and so he gets like 6 weeks a year. So, and he has to take them, and so he'll take vacation, and we'll just make a road trip out of it, and we just have a blast doing it. And so that's kind of what we do. We hunt a park every once in a while, and that's usually because there's a house across the street that we want to hunt, and there's not a car home, so we're killing time till the car shows up. But we're really not park hunters, but we have done it from time to time. But to us, it's the house. I like seeing the structure. I like seeing looking at it and seeing, is this all original dirt? I like looking to see, okay, that tree. And Mike is super at knowing his trees. I'll sit there and I'll go, oh, look at that tree. And he'll go, no, that's a fast grower. I'm like, what do you mean a fast grower? He said, that's a tree that grows fast. It's not that old. And then he'll show me one that is old. He'll say, that's a slow grower. That's a really old tree. And, so we look for things like that. And the reason we look at the trees is because you can tell a lot about the yard. You can tell, if you see at the bottom of that tree, the coming out like this above the dirt, then, chances are pretty good that soil hadn't been messed with a lot. And, so, yeah, I mean, everyone likes to do it different. A lot of people are scared to knock doors. I'm not. Mikey's not scared to get dog bit. Well, he is now, but
I am fixing though.
Yes, Rachel.
I am going to break my nervousness of knocking on doors. We're getting ready to start back curb strip hunting in my hometown, and I live in my hometown is Huntington, West Virginia, and there is a lot of old homes in this town, and I'm just that nervous type, but I'm going to start. We've got to. It's time to. So.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever watched. I have a video, and a lot of people have told me that video helped them to door knock. And I have a video I think it's how to increase your metal detecting permissions. And I just go through the things that I have found that have worked and things that I would recommend you not do. I don't recommend. A lot of people hunt in camo. Don't dress in camo going to someone's yard, to their door. Look as nice as you can look. And so I have a whole video, and I don't know how long it is, but I just sat and talked about it because I get asked all the time. And I thought, I'll just do a video and people will quit asking me, And so it was, and it worked out. And I mean, door knocking is nothing but your attitude. If you are hesitant, we have a guy in our club that he's going up to the door going, this is going to be a no, this is going to be a no, this is going to be a no. He knocks on the door and asks, and they say no. And he said, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. And I go up there going, I can't wait to see what's in these people's yard. I can't wait to show them what's in their yard. And if they say no, I'm shocked, because I mean, honestly, I feel like they live in an old house. They're probably curious what's under the ground. And so my mentality is, and the guys will tell you, I'll just tell them, I'll go, just sit here. I'll be right back. Get your machines ready. It's Jason. Jason's in one of my videos that we did. And he had come down from New Jersey and was hunting with us. And we were down in Arkansas, and I go up to the door and I knock on it and tell them who I am, what I do, and if it's all right to check the yard. And they said, yeah. And I'm back to the house, and back to the truck. And so I get to the truck and he goes, what are you doing? I said, well, we're going to hunt. He goes, you got the permission already? And I go, yeah. He goes, did you talk to him? And I go, yeah, that's how you get permission. Oh, he couldn't understand. He said, I would still be there talking. I said, I know, Jason, I've been around you a lot. I know you'd still be there talking. I'm going to go metal detect. You're welcome to go talk. And he did. He spent 15 minutes up there while we metal detected. So, but there he is.
There he
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
There he is.
Hey, quarter hoarder, welcome.
Yeah, he can tell you. He was just baffled. At first he thought I was kidding that I didn't get the permission, but I said, yeah, I went up there and asked him, let's hunt. But yeah, but we are, door knocking to us is fun. It's not fun for everyone, and I understand it too. I mean, we've had some situations. I had a deal one time where the guy threatened to sick his dogs on me, and I apologized. It was, he didn't have any signs up or anything like that. He had a rope across his driveway. We parked, and I walked up to it, and I think he was a little intoxicated too, and he started getting mouthy, and I was like, oh, I said, that's okay, we'll leave. And then he started pushing a couple of my buttons, and so I thought, okay, I'm just stand here a little bit. But anyway, and then he was going to sick his dogs on me, and I told him, there's no need, we're leaving. I might just do it anyway. And I said, I might kill your dog. So
Wow.
it was a bad deal. And Mikey knows it takes a lot to push my button, but it's not a good thing when it's pushed, and it doesn't happen very
So
much.
you got your feathers ruffled, so to speak.
Well, I was being as nice as I could possibly be, and I realized that, in his mind, he thought I was in the wrong, and I crossed his rope. I didn't know that was a bad thing to do, and I apologized and was walking out, and he wouldn't let me. He kept on, and so what could have been just a nice little, I'm sorry, I'll be gone, he wouldn't allow, and so anyway.
Yeah, those things happen.
I know you was talking about you all like to hunt the more run down parts of town where the older abandoned houses are and stuff. And we have a lot of neighborhoods in Huntington that's like that, but because of our crime rate in that town, I will not even fathom thinking about metal detecting some of them neighborhoods because I don't want to get shot just by someone that, just because, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of my, but the parts of town we've been curb strip hunting in are really nice parts. You know, they're older homes, but they're kept up by the people. And the people that have give us permissions, a lot of times, if I see someone standing in their yard, like, I have no problem walking up and talking to them. It's just that there, the knocking.
You know what's funny with us? If they're in the yard, Mikey goes and gets their permission. I am uncomfortable approaching them in the yard because it gets me out of my routine. My routine is knocking on the door, you know, welcoming them to the outside world, where I am right now, and hitting them up. I don't do as good in the yard when they're out there. Mikey does incredible. He does great when they're out in the yard. And so, you know, we always have the running joke that if they're out in the yard, Mikey goes. If it's a 1983 Bonneville and we're pretty sure it's an 80-year-old lady, Mikey goes, because he does good. He does good he does good with the older ladies. I'll just say that. the real old ladies.
But yeah, like I said, I'm better if I see someone standing out to walk up and talk to them.
Yeah, they seem to be more approachable.
Yeah.
And it is. It's what you're comfortable with, and that's why I tell people in that video, you know, what I do to get comfortable, you know, to make it comfortable. And again, there's no negative in my head. I'm never thinking that this is going to be a no. I'm always thinking, hang on, guys, let me go get this permission, get your machines ready. That's in my mind. That's what I'm thinking. And as I'm walking up, I'm going, I want this side over here. Because we always
understand.
Okay, I want this side over here. So
Waterworks says that Mikey's like a Chippendale dancer to the ladies.
That's well, to the 80-year-old ladies, because most of them can see.
I do have a question. Rachel usually, when she's with us, she always asks this question, but everyone takes their spray bottle, of course, their detector, their digger, their pinpointer, snacks. What other things do you pack with you when you go detecting that you feel that are essential for you to take that day?
Well, myself personally, I don't. I have my detector, I have my pinpointer, my digger, and my bag. Mikey, on the other hand, and this is why I don't take anything, Mikey has everything. Mikey went to the club hunt today with a bag that's 3 foot long by 1 foot wide, 1 foot deep. And I asked him, what are you taking that for? I don't know. I might need something. I said, okay. But I will tell you this, every time we go, I am glad he takes that bag, because I'll go, oh man. I mean, it was so funny today. So I haven't hunted since England, right? But I put the detector together, the Manicore, and I thought, okay, I'm going to use it. So I loaded all my stuff up, and we get out there, and we blow the whistle to go, and I take off. I get a signal. I go down, I pop the plug and realize that I have not put a battery in my pinpointer since England, because you take them out to fly. And so I'm sitting in the field and I'm just laughing. Well, there was a guy there and he goes, I got an extra one right here. You want it? And I go, oh, thank you so much. So put it in, but I felt like a dope.
Yeah, that's always a pinpointer battery.
Yeah.
It's extra. Keep that.
Exactly.
Never know when that's going to go out on you. So
yeah. Mike is great though. He's great to travel with because he does take too much, but sometimes that's really good. And and I probably don't take enough. I always my philosophy is, well, if I forgot it and I need it, maybe we can find it somewhere, and I'll buy one. I don't know. It's just I don't think much about it. I just take the things that I know I need. And but anyway,
I'm going to ask, in the years you've been detecting, what has been probably your oddest find you've ever found?
Not oldest,
Odd.
oddest.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Weird.
I found we hunted a place one time. I mean, we find a lot of weird. I mean, we find crack pipes, we find one hitters, we find a lot of drug paraphernalia, of course, where we hunt, which is odd. Well, not really for those neighborhoods, but we do find them. Probably the weirdest thing, and Mikey could probably answer this better, but we were hunting a house, and I dug. I was right next to the stairs going out. It was a statue-like thing. It was brass. It was a deer, but its front legs were too long, and its neck was a little long. But it was a deer that kind of looked like a giraffe and something else. And I still have it to this day. That's one of my prized possessions. But that's probably the weirdest thing I've dug. We've dug a lot of cool things. I'm trying to think. And nothing really stands out that was really weird. And we've dug a lot of stuff over the years. I'm trying to think. That's why I was hoping Mikey would chime in with something that was weird. I found metal frogs before. I don't know what that's about. It'd be neat to put together a list of all the metal insects that you've dug. We all dig dragonflies. I don't know if you guys do, but around here, a dragonfly earring or pendant or something, and dragonflies and a lizard. I dug a lizard one time that went to the hat. Turtles. We dig a lot of turtles. That's interesting. I've never thought about that, how many animals or insects and bugs and things like that we've dug over the years. And I don't know if you guys find them out there, but apparently we wear stuff like that around here.
I know you was talking about the metal frogs. Now, my dad, he used to have a couple of old metal frogs that were adult themed. That's all I'm going to do with that.
Did he have them in the yard?
No, I don't know where he could pick these frogs up from. I have no clue. But yeah, they were adult themed little metal frogs. But
yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. And that's one thing that I of course at my shop here, people always ask me, what kind of metal detector do you use? What should I get? And they always ask, have they come out with a metal detector yet that tells you what you're about to dig? And I went, oh, no. They say, wouldn't you love to have that? And I go, absolutely not. They kind of look at it. I said, well, that would kill the fun. If I knew what it was, it wouldn't be as fun, because we've all done it. We've all gone down on what we thought was a bad target that turned out good. Mm-hmm. And the target that you think is great, that is just a little piece of a can that got cut up by a lawnmower, that anticipation is what keeps us going. And that's what makes it fun.
That is absolutely right. It makes it fun.
Yeah. A woman's adult toy. Yeah.
I mean, you can take a guess that, I'm getting this signal because you've got that signal before that it's going to be this, but you truly don't know what it is until you get it. You
don't. Nope. That's what keeps us going. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I don't think I would want a machine that would tell me exactly what I'm digging.
Unless I lost something. If I lost something, I would like that machine.
Yeah.
The element of surprise, it is. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, have you? I'm sure you probably have return rings and stuff. Have you had a lot of that where you got to find a ring and return it to the owner?
Yeah, I dug had a real neat. We hunted this yard. It was a really good yard. In fact, we hit it a couple times and killed it both times we went. But I dug a ID bracelet, and it had the guy's name on it, and it had his number from the military on it as well. And so I did a lot of research on that and wound up finding out who this gentleman was, but he was deceased. He had died. he had died, oh, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. And so, but I kept researching a little bit, and I wound up finding his daughter, who lives actually on my way home from my shop here in Springfield. And so I called her and I said, listen, I think I have your dad's sterling silver bracelet, from when he was in the military, and it had his name on there. And she goes, oh my goodness. And she goes, she had never seen that bracelet. But what was really cool about it, I told her, I said, listen, I would like to bring this to you. And she said, oh, that would be so nice. And she said, well, I'll pay you. And I said, oh, you won't unless you're baking cookies. And she said, I will. And she sent me home with a bag of the most delicious cookies. But what was really neat, in the meantime, her husband, and he hadn't told her this, her husband had put together this huge shadow box, pictures of him, of her dad, and his old ball mitt when he was a kid. I mean, it was the coolest little thing. And what was so neat, in one of those pictures when he was in the military with a bunch of guys at the bar, he had his arm around one of the guys, and that bracelet was on his arm.
Wow.
And so she thought that was really cool. And so we were trying to figure out how it had gotten over there, because they didn't live where I found it. And she said, well, our house got broken into and they stole almost everything. And they probably saw his name on it and just threw it out right there, because I found it pretty close to the road. But that was really neat, to see someone tear up and to be able to match it to, I mean, that picture, there was his, his bracelet. And it was just really cool. And again, things like that, it's just really cool. I mean, that keeps us going. You go, man, I hope I can find something else that I can return. And, we look all the time. Someone, if you hunt enough yards, they're going to go, hey, be on the lookout for a 14 karat gold ring. I lost it, here. And it's funny, usually in those we find another ring, but it's usually not theirs. We can't find the one that they lost, but we find another one. So, yeah. But Mikey's done really good. He's found a few times where the people said, hey, I lost it, and he winds up finding it for them. We had this one lady who was 100, right at 100 years old or 99 years old. And word got out to us that she had lost her lawnmower keys. And so we went over there and Mike found them for her. And her name was Flo. I was like, you're 99 years old. You probably ought to pay someone to mow your yard instead of riding around on this riding lawnmower.
Yeah. I know Melissa, she found a lady, we was curb strip hunting, and she's sitting outside of the apartment building she lived in. And of course she's telling us that she don't want us up in the yard of the apartment building digging. And of course Melissa's talking to her and said, well, now, here's our card, because we keep our cards with us and give to people. And she said, if you ever lose anything, give us a call. And she said, well, I did lose my Jeep key in the backyard a year ago.
And it hadn't been started for a year.
Yeah, she hadn't been able to start her Jeep for a year.
Oh, wow.
Melissa did find that key for her.
Awesome.
And I think her thoughts on metal detecting changed after that. She was kind of one of them. I think she felt that we were going to dig up the whole yard. A lot of people get this misconception that we're going to dig holes.
See you, Frankie.
That they're going to fall in.
Oh, yeah.
I've just got a little hand digger. I'm not going to dig nothing you're going to fall in. But
we had a guy one time, and it was a nice house. It was a house we wanted to hunt. And I went up and asked the guy for permission, and he said, I tell you what, he said, I'll let you metal detect my yard, but I get everything you find. And I said, okay. I said, as long as I get to video it, that's fine. I said, we found about everything we want to find, and you can sure have it. Well, after we had a pretty good pile on his porch of a bunch of junk, he decides, you know what, you guys just keep it. He goes, no, and really we didn't find anything. I mean, we found maybe a wheat penny or two, and nothing silver. But you know, you hate when someone's like that, but if the yard is nice enough, it's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. You know, if you know, because again, you do this long enough and you put enough hours in, you really don't need to keep the stuff. You know, there's enough. I mean, I always tell people, I go, listen, if I find a Tootsie toy or if I find a dog tag, I would like to keep those. I said, anything else though, you know, if you want it, you can have it. And they always look at me like, Tootsie toy or dog tag? Yeah, those are the things I collect. Those mean a lot to me. You know, I don't know why. I've got hundreds of Tootsie toys and I've got a lot of dog tags, but I don't know why it is. Those are the things I enjoy finding, which is weird. I know. Of course, I have a gold and silver shop. That's what I do for a living. I see enough silver. You know, I would like to find a gold coin. I just don't want people, you know, I have gold coins here all the time. I don't want people thinking, oh yeah, sure, you found that, you know. And that's why I hope if I'm in England, that's where I want to find it, because I won't get accused of planting it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Permissions we've got. Most of the people have let us keep what we find, and
Uh-huh.
we've give. You know, do you want this? Take it. You know, if you want it, take it.
Mhm.
One of the first doors I knocked on, the couple was so nice. In fact, they invited us into their house to show us their home, and they were like, you know, keep everything, but they did want just a couple of items because she was going to make a little shadow box because their home was just full of antiques and
Oh,
stuff
cool.
they collected over the years. And they actually, he actually plays in a band. It's called the 30. What is it? The
37 flood.
37 flood, because in Huntington back in 1937, the whole town flooded.
The Ohio
Oh.
The
River.
Ohio
Yeah.
River flooded over Huntington, and so
Yeah.
that's the name of their band. They're kind of jazzy group, and so they had a lot of stuff. They were both weren't they like journalists? And so I have found a hymn weight. She wanted to keep that, and a little. It was like a little piece of jewelry, brooch, clip, something.
Yeah.
And Melissa had found a couple of foreign coins, and they wanted one of the foreign coins. So that was, you know, I have no problem with that. Now we did honey at one time that the lady took everything.
She took pull tabs and all.
Everything, and there was no compromise.
She had her both hands out.
Yeah.
So she got it all.
So she got it all. That was, you know, it's fine. Because we stress, long as we get to film it,
that's what we're
show
there
our
for.
viewers. That's what we're here for. So it's your property. It's your stuff.
And honestly, the chances of finding something that's going to change your life is probably not going to happen in someone's yard. Yeah. And you know, it's hard. It's hard because when we first do it, you know, when you first start, it's like, oh no, I found it. It's mine. But then you get to the point of going, how many more of these mines do I need? You know, I've got jars full of stuff, and honestly, here lately, I've been purging some stuff that, you know, how many old razor handles do I really need? I don't. You know, I don't need them. No one wants them. You can't sell them.
Nope.
They make a great display, but you know, after a while, you know, your wife or your kids need to move into that room that you've taken over. So, I mean, your kids, not your wife.
We do the same thing out in our shop where we clean up all our finds.
Yeah.
I keep a lot of stuff out there, and every so often we get out there and I'm like, how many locks do I need sitting around? You know, you can't do nothing with them. They're rusted up. So it's like, okay, let's put them in the scrap bucket. And, well, yeah, because we have our lead bucket and our metal bucket.
Copper bucket.
Copper. And yeah, it happens. You got to purge stuff.
There's times you do. You can only keep so much of it. And it's nothing that's going to.
Yeah, it ain't nothing that's
make you rich.
Or,
yeah,
make you or break you.
I want to tell one more story. I know we're getting close to the time. I want to tell one more story because you mentioned a while ago about being invited into the house, and I'm going to tell a Mikey story just because this is one of my favorite stories when we have been detecting. Those of you that don't know Missouri Mike, he is the nicest individual you will ever meet. He will do anything for anyone. So here's my story. We're hunting a street that we hadn't hunted before, and it's, I don't know, a mile from his house, probably, maybe a little bit more from his house. And we got a permission and we hunted it. And Mikey's really good about, while we're hunting a yard, if he sees someone come in or go out, he'll just walk down there and talk to him and see if he can get us to the next house to go, which is great. So he leaves, and but he took his detector with him because we were almost done with that yard. He takes his detector with him and starts visiting with this older lady outside of this beautiful Victorian house, big, beautiful Victorian house. And so I'm watching, and then pretty soon she invites him in, and I thought, okay, Mikey's going to get that permission. And so I finished up the yard that we were in, and I thought, well, I don't know how long this is going to be, so I thought, well, I'm going to walk down the street and see if I can get a permission, because I don't know how long Mike's going to be in there, and so I waited for a while, and then I texted him. I said, "You okay?" And he didn't respond, and I thought, well, I'm still going to go get a permission. So I go down on the other side of the street and I get a permission. So I start metal detecting, and I finally, as bugging me, I text him, "Do I need to come in there?" He doesn't text back, and so I thought, well, and there was other people who'd gone in the house too, and so I thought, well, it's just a really bizarre deal, but I'm really not worried about him, but I kind of am, but yet I metal detected on. I didn't go back to him. Finally, after about, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes, here he comes. And I go, "Mike, what on earth were you doing?" He goes, well, I'm on the neighborhood watch now, and I had to sit in for the meeting. And I go, "Mike, you don't even live in this neighborhood." He goes, "Yeah, I tried to tell him that, but it didn't matter." I said, all right, well, grab your machine, let's hunt. So so yeah, he's on their neighborhood watch. He's never in their neighborhood, but he's on the watch.
That is a good one.
That is funny. Yes,
yeah, that's fun. But that's how he is all the time. He'll spend the time.
Yeah. Speaking of the time, it is 9:43, so we're going to get ready, and
we're going to start
at 10 o'clock. We're going to wrap this up and
start wrapping it up.
Yep.
But we've had an awesome evening.
We have had an awesome time this evening. We appreciate you joining us. Hey, Looter 8, welcome.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yes. Gary Garvine, we appreciate you coming in too.
Yep.
Anyone we may have missed. Iron Antler, we can't wait to see your find that you found. Yes, I'm sure that video will be coming out soon.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to get back out tomorrow, weather permitting. Tomorrow, we're going to get back out and start our curb strip hunting. We've been doing home sites here in where we're at right now, just about 30 minutes away around the lake. Back in the 60s, the Army Corps of Engineers come in and bought out a lot of people. They put the dam in and the lake in, but them old home sites are still sitting out there. They tore the structures down, but we've been
the wells are still there.
Still been getting in there, and we have had some awesome finds and getting in the old where they dump their garbage, finding bottles, marbles. We have really found some awesome marbles in that. But now everything's growing up. It's time for snakes to start coming back out. Yeah. So now we're going to go back and start hitting our curb strips and pick up where we left off. And like I said, I'm going to start door knocking. I've just got to get over that fear. If they say no, they say no.
Don't take it personal. It's not an attack on you. That's what I try to tell everyone. It's not an attack on you. I tell them, I go, honestly, if you came and knocked on my door, I'd probably say no.
Now see, that's us in our yard. We get out and hunt our yard all the time, and still finding stuff. And we've had four channels here at our house.
Yeah.
That have hunted our yard, and they, it's not big spectacular finds, but they find some little something. I know just a few weeks ago, I found a spur in the yard. And
Wow.
Mike with Great Finds helped identify that spur. I thought it was like what I had found was anywhere between World War I and World War II. But he had a friend that's got a shop in Gettysburg. It's a Civil War shop, and he assured me that spur I found was a Civil War spur, because I have found a grape shot, cannonball,
Mm-hmm.
plenty of horse tack, horseshoes, harmonica reed, beam pot, part of an old beam pot. So that was one of the best finds we've ever got out of our yard, was that spur, and everything's there, but the little roller on the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the complete.
But that's
Just missing the rowel. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard to find a full one anyway.
Yeah. That the bush that I found it under, it's just right out here in the front of the house, is covered in poison oak. So I paid for that find.
He paid for it.
Definitely paid for that
Yes,
find.
he did.
Mm-hmm.
For weeks of having my arms covered in poison oak, which is not fun.
Nope.
Yeah, and yeah.
I had to dig out the bar of lye soap to get him scrubbed up with.
It helps.
It does. It
Oh,
helps. Yep, it does. But yes, we want to again say thank you for being a guest on our show.
Yes.
And I know everyone in chat this evening has had an awesome time and enjoyed the stories and your experiences, and it's been wonderful.
Congratulations to Scott.
Yes, and congratulations to Scott on winning the
giveaway
giveaway.
tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I always tell people, don't give up on me. I'm trying to come back.
Yeah. Well, we understand. I get out and we dig, and my right hand is right now. I can tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, there's days we get out and dig, and I'm 2 days suffering with my hand hurt. And they want to cut on me, and I won't let them. I'm not going to let them cut on my hand. I'm going to deal with it the best I can. But there's mornings I wake up that it's hard for me to do this.
Yeah.
I force myself to.
I would appreciate prayer. I'm meeting with the surgeon in 2 days, so I'm a little bit scared.
Your way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just hate. My mom had really bad arthritis in her hands, to where they were, starting to be crooked, and I hope I don't inherit that.
Yeah.
My doctor, she's sent me to some, and like I said, they want to cut on me. Oh, it's carpal tunnel. Let's cut it. I'm like, no, you're not. I've known people that they've cut on their hands and messed their hands up. So I'd rather suffer through the pain than have them permanently mess me up, and then I won't be able to dig. Period. So
absolutely, we see lots of prayers coming to you.
Lots of prayers, Jeff,
for your upcoming.
Hope everything works out great
medical situation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and I guess get ready and
I'm going to throw you in the back room. Just hang in there just for
about
a minute.
2 minutes.
And let me get rid of everyone.
Yeah, we'll get rid of everybody.
Get rid of everyone.
Bye, everyone.
But everyone, thanks for joining. And Jeff, thanks for being our guest this evening. And we'll talk to you in just a minute, okay?
Sounds good.
Thanks, brother.
Yes.
All righty. Covers, Prospects, Pledges, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
I know we still have 27 in the chat, but we're going to cut it just a little bit short this evening. Like I said, me and Melissa's going to get out and get back to the curb strip hunting, which it's going to be a while before you all see them videos.
It will be June.
We still have some home site videos that's going to be coming to you. Plus, we've got something coming up
in the works. All we're going to say.
So I'm not
the works.
Promising nothing for anyone, but it's in the works.
Thank you, Danny boy.
I think you're all really going to enjoy from Clark's Cove. We're trying to bring you all a little bit more variety of things, and as we're growing, we're trying to grow, you know, instead of just the same old that you get from us. Sometimes I know sometimes our videos probably get a little
Yeah, those mason jar inserts,
Yeah.
after you find over 300
300 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only get excited so much over mason jar
Absolutely.
lids and marbles too. I
Yeah.
mean, we have found our fair. But
Good
now,
night, Jim
I tell you,
Steele.
I think the marbles are something I'll never get
We love the
tired
marbles,
of
absolutely.
finding these old marbles
We
that
do.
we've been finding, and hopefully, in come October, November, we'll get back into those dump
Yep.
sites and home
I think
sites
so.
and find some more. But
Yep.
yeah, kind of be looking forward to the or the curb strip hunting and see if we can get some good permissions. I've got
I might find another silver bar.
I've got some doors I'm wanting to knock on, so
Yep.
wish me luck. Fingers crossed on
Yep.
that. And everyone have a good night.
Yes,
Go over
absolutely.
and check out some other live streams that's going
Thank you,
on.
Tracy.
I think Adventures with
Adventures
Goat
with Goat is
is
live right
tonight,
now. Yes,
so go
absolutely.
over and check him out. And anyone else that might be going, JP,
Yep.
anyone else that might be going live tonight, please go over and give them your support.
Yes,
and
thank
tell
you,
them.
DNL.
And anyone that's going detecting,
Yep.
hope you find your bucket lister or something really good.
Absolutely.
Be safe while you're
Yes.
driving back and forth from home to your sites that you're
Thank you,
digging.
She Digs Alabama.
And like we always like to say here at Clark's Cove, well, I can't forget tomorrow night, Digging Sundays.
Yes, absolutely.
Always stop by Digging Sundays.
Yep.
We've got Metal Mike and Purses, Team Lynch, Clark's Cove, Texas Plug Riches, DNL.
Absolutely.
Come over and check us out tomorrow night. They'll be
Yes.
starting at 6 o'clock.
6:30.
6:30.
We'll start off with
I think Team Lynch
Team
starts
Lynch
off
first.
tomorrow night. Yeah,
and it will end with Metal Mike and Purses.
Metal Mike
Yes.
and Purses. And so come over
Yep.
and support us on that. And next Thursday, I'll be back at 11 a.m. with my wheat penny hunting
Yep.
that I've been doing each Thursday. I've been enjoying that and really appreciating
Yes.
everyone stopping in and supporting that. And you all have a good weekend.
Yes.
And like we always like to say here at Clark's Cove Detecting, if you lose it,
We find it.
and we'll see you guys on that next good.
Cover find.
Y'all
Y'all
have a
have a
good
great
night
evening. We
and
love
a
you guys.
good weekend, and see you
See ya.
possibly next Saturday.
Yeah,
We don't know yet.
we don't know about
we'll
next
let everyone
Saturday.
know.
Yeah.
Next Saturday could be iffy. We might have something going on.
Some
so
kind of goodies going on.
we'll let you know this week. So
Have a good
thanks
night,
for joining
everybody.
everyone.